Oh man, this fight is awesome.
Yeah, I love Mad Mew Mew. This is just like Undertale.
Oh, I see. She's like a Chris parallel.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that... Hold on, that's...
Oh my god. Wait a damn minute. Oh my god. After playing Chapter 4, I, like everyone else, had a lot of questions about who the knight is, and who the mystery caller is, and whatever's up with you. I was so confused by how the mystery caller says, "I'll be right there," then Carol shows up, because it doesn't add up with the end of Chapter 4, Snowgrave Route, when she calls Chris on the phone and doesn't speak like the mystery caller from before. I could tell the entire rest of the community was also so confused by this, because no one really had a way to explain it. Ultimately, I think I decided that the mystery caller is really just that. A mystery. Maybe a new character we haven't met yet? Because really, no other explanation made much sense. But now, I've solved it. I've got you all figured out. And it's all thanks to the secret boss of Chapter 5.
All of the secret bosses, besides Gerson, and we'll get to you later, have paralleled Chris in a unique way and shed some light on how they feel, while breaking the game and having tons of knowledge about Deltarune as a game. I mean, Spamton is quite literally a puppet being controlled by green strings, and made very interesting comments regarding Chris. While Mad Mew Mew's parallels to Chris are extremely obvious, I was pretty confused by how she fit in thematically, until this happened. Her body speaking exactly like the mystery caller from Chapter 4, and that's exactly it. That was the missing piece to the entire deal with Carol and the Knight.
If we assume the mystery caller is Carol, on account of it saying, "I'll be right there," and then Carol shows up, how can she also call Chris normally at the end of the Chapter 4 Snowgrave Route? Well, I suppose the mystery caller really is Carol. The call at the end of the Chapter 4 Snowgrave Route is somebody else puppeting her body. Mad Mew Mew confirmed to us that the creepy mystery caller text is really just how bodies talk. Slow and shaky and creepy, kinda like how Chris moves when they're without a soul. So my theory is that the mystery caller is Carol's body without her soul. Carol has a soul.
I mean, think about it. That explains her interest in heart-shaped objects, not only how she knows about Chris's soul, but also why we're welcome here at any time. But how does this have anything to do with the Knight, and more specifically, why is the Knight so powerful? If we take a look at how power works in Undertale, it's based on two things, love and determination. Love seems to be present in Deltarune in the Snowgrave route, and with the ability to get stronger in general. But the power of determination implies big things about the world of Deltarune that we haven't really explored yet. In Undertale, monsters are very weak compared to humans, because human souls contain massive amounts of determination. Monsters can make their own determination too, as we see when attempting to kill Undyne, which seems to carry over into Deltarune, as monster lighteners can make fountains with determination too. So in Undertale, humans have more determination, thus they are more powerful. But there is an exception to this rule, when a monster takes a human soul, a horrible beast with unfathomable power. It's important to recognize the similarity between the Knight's attacks and the attacks of Hyperdeath Azrael, not to mention that Burn in Despair appears in Black Knight. But one of these traits aren't taken from Azrael, but Azrael's role as the monster with a human soul. Azrael's Hyperdeath form only appears when he has a human soul, so that's the only time those attacks are used, and the only time that song is played. Also, we can't talk about determination without talking about the True Love. In the passages throughout, we find out about Alphys' experiments with determination, and we learn what happens when monsters are given too much determination. To put it simply, their bodies can't handle it, If the knight's overwhelming power really does come from determination, it would explain their amorphous body as well as how they seem to be in pain. Alright, let's address the Gaster-shaped elephant in the room. Gaster was the one who made the blueprints for extracting determination, and Entry 17 shows that he was experimenting with darkness. But before we put all of this together, we need to talk about Undertale's narrative. While Undertale's main story covers the monsters in the underground, Flowey's growth is the overarching story that spans across dialogues in all of the endings. Before the story, Flower is a being that lives on a different layer than the other monsters because he can save and reload. This causes him to grow apathetic and try all kinds of routes throughout the underground. What's interesting about this, though, is how he feels about the player after we arrive. He encounters a being that somehow does something different every time, a being that can follow throughout our routes. He follows us everywhere, appearing in hallways when we turn around. He's obsessed with us because we are more real than him. In both Pacifist and Genocide, Flowey eventually is happy just to be with us. And it all makes sense. If you learned of a world a layer above yours, you would be the same as Flowey, obsessed with learning as much as you can. And what better way to gather information than with a survey?
Survey program is how Gaster accesses our world, and souls are a way we can access his, by possessing someone inside of it. But what happens when a monster is possessed by a human soul? It becomes a horrible beast with unfathomable power. In Undertale, a monster with a human soul is very powerful, but in the light world, monsters don't have magic like they do in Undertale. So it only makes sense that the horrible beast that is the night manifests its unfathomable power only where a monster's magic would also manifest, in the dark world. To tie all this in with the caller on the phone, perhaps the reason why Carol calls us on the phone at the end of the Snowgrave route in Chapter 4 to tell us that Noelle wants to go with us to the festival is so that in the Chapter 5 Snowgrave route, they can fall into the lake similarly to how Gaster fell into the core. They can get shattered across space and time just like him. They can even be present in our world just like him. And perhaps even create their own survey program. But I don't know. What do you two think?